Analysis Desk. I'm Joe Miller, and joining me is, of course, Trevor Quickshot Henry and Schleyer from Against All Authority. First of all, congratulations on a fantastic win against Evil Geniuses. Almost said against All Authority, because that just comes out naturally now. Talk us through, your plan going into that game. What was, the whole idea coming into that match against EG?
So first of all, we picked Cartus to snowball on lanes, so we had to get strong lanes and try to snowball. We had Thresh, so it helped a lot. So it was kind of snowballing from Cartus, and yeah, it was our plan.
I got a quick question about Carthus. We normally see Freddy 1-2 taking him sort of the 1v2 lanes, and he plays Carthus. Do you think you're the better Carthus?
Actually, I don't know. We need to do 1v1 like Soaz and Wicked, and we'll see.
I like that. I like the challenge. I was talking to you a little bit before we went on air, but Nono's build in particular with the Spirit Elder, Lizard, blah, blah, blah. Talk us through the build. Was it planned? Did you guys talk about it as a team? How did that somewhat new EU build come into play?
So we saw it on Korean stream. So we watched so much stream, and we tried to see what is going. He get inspired by one player who is GoGG. He just build around, and now he's the first person to do it in EU, and I think it's good.
Okay, how much did you guys practice with that beforehand? Have you played this sort of composition that's sort of like kiting Israel in scrims before?
Yeah, he play a lot Israel. Like he's known for Israel. He's really dangerous with it. He's for me one of the best of Europe, at least. So we play some solo queue. He saw the build. He try so much thing. He do so much terrorcraft. So I think he knows the champ in his fingers.
Yeah.
Talk us through we saw last week a feature, of course, on the Against All Authority mansion, as Nono called it. How has that helped your team, being able to really focus in? Because the weeks before you were here in the ESL TV studios still late every night. How big of a change has that been for the team, having the house?
So now we are in the house. We got a whiteboard, I think it's the word. So we can see what is bad for us and what is good. So we do picks, bans against team before the match. We do everything. Like I think this week we were more prepared than every week we did before.
How much of a difference has Dude had on the impact as well? I mean, it's a fairly recent change, 3 weeks now, plus minus, with the gaming house. You guys seem to really step your game up once he stepped into the support role.
Yeah, I think Nono at least feels so well with Dude. Like we can see, like they are amazing bot lane. I think they are pretty strong, like one of the best of Europe. So it's good for us to count on them. Like before we had so much, not so much champions we can play, but now we do whatever we want. So it's pretty cool for us.
You're a predominantly French lineup, obviously Freddy being the lone Englishman in there. How does the communication go, especially with that bottom lane? Do they speak French to each other in-game?
No, they speak English, actually, but sometimes when they miss something, they speak French, like, oh, you could have done that and that. And so it's pretty English to make Freddy be in our family.
So is Freddy going to be learning French, or are you guys all learning English?
Yeah, he will learn French, I tell you.
That's a tough step for an Englishman to learn French. I know that one. But, it's a super week here, our final week. You guys have a lot of work to do still, even though that was a great first step, it has to be said, taking down Evil Geniuses. What are your feelings for a final finish in place? What's your real hope from this last super week?
So we want to, I think our principal rivals, it's Giants. So we're going to play it today. I think it will be a huge match between each other because we lost previous game and we want to revenge and see how it is go after. Like Giant is the match we are waiting for.
Well, thanks a lot and good luck in your later games against Giants and, of course, for the rest of the Super Week. We have another exciting match coming your way in just a second. And your commentators, of course, for this one will once again be Demon and Jason.
Yes, thank you very much, guys. It's time for Dragonborns versus SK Gaming. Both teams are fighting for very different positions in the league right now, but equally desperate for a win.
Yeah, this is really bound to be a good one, Demon. Last week we saw Dragonborns with like a new gust of wind under their wings. However, last time Dragonborns took a game off SK was, back in week 2 with the amazing Shushei snipe with his Lux. The thing is, that was the old lineup of Dragonborns. We're with a new lineup, and we'll see how they really do here. And Yamato Cannon, he's been in the top lane for him. It's been about three weeks for him. He's actually started to grow. Like, we've seen him start to develop in the top lane. He seems more comfortable finally. He's also the shot caller for the team, so it's really a lot to put on his shoulders all at once.
He's not afraid to speak as well, speak his mind,
right?
With the wicked comments with the Z builds.
Yeah, and that's really what you need. Like someone that's really that out in the open. And then of course, Dragonborns, they have a little bit of confusion in the calls. We talk about Yamato Ken having that on his shoulders as well, but they've been a little bit iffy sometimes. Like indecision is what I'm trying to say. We saw that happen back with Dragonborns when Spontex and Luna were on the team. But then again, the new lineup of Dragonborns, we could see some really cool lanes. We saw, Hosan playing AP mid in the middle lane and Shushe taking the AD carry role for Dragonborns. We could see, AP mid Soraka again, or maybe something else, because you have to point out they're out of the running for LCS for right now, but they're looking to dodge Meteor Makers in the relegation matches.
Well, when you say out of the running, basically we're talking about the fact that they can't finish above the sixth. They can't get, especially against Authority just once, so they definitely can't get sixth place now. That's well out of their hands, but they don't want to get 7th or 8th. It's like, if they get 8th, they're probably going to get Meteor Makers. If they get 7th, it's either alternate or, I say probably Meteor Makers. Dexter is actually evil, may well have a say in that. This is, of course, what I'm talking about, the summer promotion series. We're going to get down to that. We're going to explain it later on, so don't worry. But this is what they're fighting for right now.
Yes, they are. And then, they're up against SK, who looked just outstanding last week. I mean, we've seen them like that before, but just, wow, not in that kind of set. Asa on his Twisted Fate was amazing. We saw Candy Panda do phenomenally well on top of that. But can they continue that momentum? That's the real question.
That is a big question. So let's check out the lineups, of course, for Dragonborns. As the blue team, it is going to be Yamato Cannon, Maluno, Shushe, and Mouved. And Hosan. Actually, how did I miss Hosan? I mean, is the man... you know what I miss with this team? I miss the chest bumps.
We need to see one of those. That would be amazing, or something else. Maybe like a headbutt. That would probably be really bad for either one of them. But over for SK side, we have Kevin, Hercubot, Ocelot, Candy Panda, and Nif.
Yeah, and that bottom lane, of course, has been together for so long that there's been an outstanding feature of League of Legends. Yeah. So for this game, we do shift on, and it is all about the duo lanes, but it's the support players we want to talk about because they often get overshadowed. So for Dragonborns, it's the man that tries to keep up with Hosan. It is Mouved.
And speaking of that, he actually did quite well last week with keeping up with him, which is something we don't normally see, but he also has the lowest KDA out of all supports at this point. He's the second lowest KDA overall, and he has about 20 more deaths than any other support. But like we said, last week he started to step up a little bit. If he can do that again this time, it will be phenomenal for the team. And not to mention, his crescendos last weekend were just so spot on. It really set up his team to do extremely well against the Giants.
Yeah, I mean, it's effectively what won them the game. Yeah. It was a fantastic play. And of course, for SK Gaming, it's the veteran of League of Legends, having been around in every single season to date. It is Nif.
And he played a fantastic elite support last week. We saw Crepo, the only other man, doing that. His solo in the beginning of the season was amazing as well. He had so many perfect crescendos that really led his team off to a great start in the season. And of course, out of the 8 times he's played Sony, he's won 5 of those matches. So very good statistics on her. Maybe we'll see that picked up again, or maybe even that Elise, which we saw, which was just phenomenal. I think he was 3-0 at one point. He was pretty much Edward status in terms of securing kills.
Yeah, that Elise was absolutely outstanding play, and really what kind of started them off, because that bottom lane, that's where the snowball began, of course. But when we spoke to the players, they seemed to have a very clear idea of how to beat one another.
Every player of our team is on a bit higher level than the Dragonborns members, so we can just win our lanes and snowball the game like that.
But we beat them once already, and I think we have everything that you need to beat them, and we're gonna do it if we focus.
About SK, I feel that they are not bad, but they're not super good as well.
The only champion I'm worried about from Dragonborn's bot lane is Draven. I think any other champion I can handle, but if you play Draven and he all-ins you with Flash Ignite, it's impossible to live, so we will just ban Draven and we will win.
So it's pretty clear that Candy Panda doesn't want Draven against him. He definitely going to ban that one out. So we're going to go into the picks and bans in just a moment. So picks and bans, what are we talking here? What are we thinking? You've just mentioned it, the fact that Sona's been so strong for Nif. Elise last week was very strong. Draven, Candy Panda has just mentioned, that's going to be a ban for SK Gaming. What are we thinking Ocelot's going to pull out his bag of tricks here? Or what will Dragonborns do?
I think they want to take away his Twisted Fate last time, because we saw 5 out of 8 games he was played, did great in every single game, and also was pretty much a key to their victory as well. But we do have bans already coming in. We do see that Diana being taken away, as well as Draven. So obviously, I'm not going to see Hosan on his famous Draven champion. And then Ocelot not going to be on his Diana.
Yeah, Twisted Fate being taken away as well. Ocelot used that against Gambit to great effect last week. Absolutely fantastic MVP performance, so the Dragonborns don't want to fall for that one. Jarvan, the fourth, being taken away. Maluna has used that one a few times as well. And really has been the flavor of the LCS, I think it's safe to say. The American team's been using Jarvan the fourth quite excessively lately. Europe have definitely started using it lately as well. What are we thinking? Other bans? We did see Renekton being taken out before. We've seen... What are we thinking? Maybe Kha'Zix's going away?
I think Zed is going to be taken away as a really strong pick. Because, Monacan, we see him play it quite a bit. Asa can play it. Kevin can play it. And it might be just a safe champion to take out of the running, but the Renekton does get banned away, just like you suggested, and the Kha'Zix. So your crystal ball is a lot stronger than mine. Your Kung Fu is
what can I say? I've been around a while in this game, and I kind of know what's going on. Thresh has been picked up there, so it's going to be Mouvette with Thresh. Let's see what it's going to be. Is it going to be Elise? Is it going to be Nif with Elise?
Oh, that's the surprise about her. That's the good thing about her. You could pick her, or you can play her in the top lane, in the jungle, in the mid lane, even as support, but we did see Nif on her last time.
Yeah, and it was against Thresh. Remember, it was the Thresh Prince playing, and he got outplayed by Nif.
Yeah. So that would be a very strong pickup. If it works once, why not use it again? But we do send the Nasus locked in. I wouldn't be surprised to actually see Nautilus on Maluno. It seems to be one of those champions he favors, like a Mumu. He's more oriented around that kind of thing. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them go for that. But we will see picks come in. And then, of course, Shushe most likely going to leave his pick for last and try to get Hosan and Mover there. Well, Mover already has his, but Hosan his AD champion.
So it looks like the dog has been let out by SK Gaming. Hirkibot will be taking that one. And we're going to see what will Hosan choose to go with. Will it be Misfortune or will it be Jace? Jace is actually a champion that Hosan has played in that bottom lane. So that may not just be the top lane for Yamato Cannon.
That is very true, and that's one thing that can always catch a team off guard. Like, you love teams that can do this kind of thing, where they can pick a champion that can really go anywhere, because you can never really fully counterpick them. And of course, Dragonborns, they're really well known for switching last second on you, so you're not really sure what will happen. But it's also a very good pickup. I'm sure Shushe can play him. I'm sure Yamato Cannon can play him. And we already know Hosan can, as the Shen being locked in. So it looks like we will... I don't want to say we will see Shen in the top lane, but it is most likely.
Yeah, well, we'll see whether it is. Could, of course, be the jungler. Maluno did have Jarvan taken away from him. Of course, he's known for a Mumu as well. So we'll see whether that one comes out. So SK Gaming, what are we thinking for these? The AD carry almost certainly going to be the choice, and the top laner.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised to see Varus or Misfortune picked up, because they're like pretty much the standard AD champions right now. Varus, a very strong champion with that % health damage, and you're really a really big bully in the lane, and that's right up Candy Panda's style. But this will be the top laner locked in, because Asa never leaves his pick like this early on. He always wants it as last, and Cassidy is always open if they want to use that.
And if you're just wondering that mouse pad, you can see the SK Gaming mouse pad, but next to it's the Ocelot World mouse pad. He's got his own mouse pad. He is his own franchise right now, Ocelot, that is making the picks.
Okay.
We've gone with the white scarf today, and there it is. It's going to be the Rumble at the top lane.
We saw Kevin play this last week, so that will pretty much be a support at least. But he played it last week to a phenomenal extent. The thing was, he didn't really win his lane, so to say. I mean, he pretty much did in the end, but his whole goal of the game was to put constant pressure on the top lane, and that forced Gambit, Diamond Prox in particular, to really sit into that top lane. It forced him to babysit the top lane, allowing Candy Pan Nif to play really aggressive, allowed Ocelot to play really aggressive, and gave him a huge advantage.
We'll see whether that's how it works out. What will Shushe go with? Will it be the Jace, or will Hosan be the man playing it? No. Looking like Hosan may well go towards Ezreal. We just saw Nono playing a fantastic Ezreal in the last game. Maybe he was watching that one as he gives us a smile on the camera there.
I'm looking at this, and that smile makes me think we're going to see Jace as AD carry and AP Ezreal, maybe?
You never know with Hosan,
yeah.
do you? And Shushe, they're both absolutely bonkers. They could pull anything out, to be honest. Mouvette, we're waiting to see what the final pick will be, and it's going to be... Oh, wow, okay. So it's going to be the top laner is Jace, AD carry Ezreal, support Thresh, of course, jungle Shen, and AP Lux in the mid lane.
Wow, they have so much damage built up on their team right here, not to mention the Shen jungle. You never really fully know when he's 6, when he can really use that ultimate to turn a gank around, but that is a very strong team already for Dragonborns. You have the speed increase out of Jace, you have the hooks going to land out of Mover if you can get them, and you also have the slow and light bindings out of Lux. I really like their composition so far, but what are SK going to round this up with? I wouldn't be surprised to actually see a casting come out of Ocelot, because it's a very strong pick here.
It's not a champion he enjoys, I don't think, either. the number of times, certainly I'm thinking Season 2 finals period when he picked it and he was just like, after the game, he's like, why did I pick it? I don't know why I picked it. I hate Canthus. Why did I play that champion? We'll see whether he pulls a rabbit out of the hat. Zed is available, so could well go for that one maybe. We could see a damage champion. We could, of course, see KO being locked in.
Okay, so that's pretty much one of it. Well, I wouldn't say one of his most played champions, but a very well played champion out of him. And it also counters that Lux ultimate quite a bit. We know Candy Pen in the past as being 180 carry who gets caught by light bindings quite a bit, so this will help counter that as well. So you cannot burst any one particular member of SK down just yet. So you have to hit them all at the same time and try to get them low simultaneously. But still, that is another strong composition of SK. You have the slow out of Nasus. You have the follow-up with that Rumble ultimate, which really, you underestimate the damage it does because it was reworked. It's not, the burst damage that comes down. It's all about the dot, how long they can keep you in there. Then you have the VAR slow, you have the Kale slow on top of the Cocoon. You really can lock down a team inside that ultimate.
Yeah, we're seeing big smiles on Ocelot's face there. And in fact, a lot of the SK members. So I think they seem to be pretty happy with the picks and bans, how they've managed to play out for them. You can see that playbook being put away by Ocelot. Keep your eyes on that one. That will be coming out in many games to come, of course. Most of these teams playing at least 5 games this weekend. We are on the Friday. It's definitely the earlier time. And we're going to be doing this for the next 2 or 3 days running up to the Sunday night. Could well be a lot of games on Sunday night as well. And I must point out, of course, if we have ties come Sunday night, there will be extra games. So they are not in the schedule right now, and it's giving our production heart palpitations, but they could happen. They could indeed happen. We could have an extra long session on Sunday night. Of course, that is if things are tied up. So we're getting into the game. You can see the loading screens right there. SK Gaming on the red side and the blue side of Shushe and crew. There's Hosan just to the right of him. They are the long-haired team. I wonder if there's like maybe a thing going on in the team. It's like part of the contract. It's like, Maluno, well done, you've signed, Now you've got to grow your hair long. You've got to join in the rest of the team. And Summoners getting ready to go. So here we go. It's going to be Dragonborns as the blue team, and the red team will be SK Gaming. If you've just joined us, well, unlucky for you, son, because you have missed an absolutely amazing game against All Authority, taking down Evil Geniuses, and that's actually tied things up 2-2 for them. That takes Evil Geniuses to 12-12 as well, or 0.500 to our American viewers. But if you're in Europe, don't worry, we don't know what it means either.
Yeah, I'm American. I'm just like, not a big deal.
Oh well. So here we go. What are we expecting? Are we going to see any level 1 shenanigans from either team? We do see Dragonborns making a move. Are they just going to go simply straight to get the wards in? Doesn't look like anyone wants to go aggressive. They are in straight defensive formation.
Okay, if we do see these lanes match up normally as they're supposed to, the top laner's top, the AD carry support bottom lane, I wouldn't be surprised to see some sort of invade out of SK to stop that Hosan from hitting level 2, because he's that player where if he hits level 2 on you, he's going to be so aggressive. He's going to try to push you out of lane. He did that against Jim Bones versus Giants very well, and it denied him quite a bit, but it's up to them to see what they're going to do, or maybe Candy Panda will actually share some of the XP at Wolves.
So we saw the pink ward being put down to clear out the ward that Movet did put down.
That's a lot to invest early on. That pink and the ward covering that tri-bush area, so Kevin can't be ganked, because it looks like he will be in that bottom lane.
It's just the Explorer down the bottom, though, so it's going to be too worried. Wow, Kevin, really, wow. Spamming out. So it does look like we're going to have a switch around here, and it's going to be the AD carry of Candy Panda along with Nif going in towards that top lane for SK Gaming. That's going to be up against Yamato Cannon, 2v1 lane. So how do we see these stacking straight away? Jace is not too bad, 2v1.
He is not bad indeed. He has that ability to just farm consistently. He has a red pot as well, so it looks like he's expecting this 1v2 situation. And he also is ranged, which gives him a huge advantage over Kevin in the bottom lane on Rumble, where he's against Ezra, who can poke quite well. You have Mover who can pull you. So I think Kevin's really going to have that really tough time down there. But I wouldn't be surprised if SK take the top turret early on, just so Kevin can get out of it quicker.
Yeah, and we do still see the red pot coming out from Hosan, so maybe he's thinking of getting very aggressive on towards Kevin in the early stages. We'll try and keep our eye across the map, see how it develops. Maluno starting off on the red also being started by Herkybot. He clears out that one with the Q, and of course the aggression coming out early on from Ocelot this time on towards Shushe, and that was a good exchange for him.
And if we can check the bottom lane real quick, you see Hosan doing the exact same thing. Hit level 2, push Kevin out right away as he's already sitting at his turret at this point. And we see a pink ward come out of Mover to take away that vision. So this makes me think we are going to see that level 3 gank coming in from Maluno, or not level 3, but the early gank in the 1v3 situation on Maluno.
But I think that was only the Explorer ward down the bottom. I'm certain that's all he got put down, so that's a pink ward wasted to take down a 60-second ward. Not ideal, but it does give them perfect situation, perfect vision, in case Hercubot does try and take a gank towards that bottom. We see Maluno picking up the dub buff. Is he going to head towards the top? There is a ward, of course, in the river, so he wouldn't want to go that route. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, it is still very even between these two. And, well, they're going to be both very aggressive players, Ocelot and Shushay. We'll see who's got the aggression to go diving in early on.
The thing is that Maluno, so he got blue and he started heading back down towards the middle lane to keep farming up, but they really don't know where Hercubot is necessarily, like 100%. And with the way top lane's playing, having a ward down, having no ward for Dragonborns, he could be going for that 3-man dive in the top lane, as he actually is heading up there, so he will be kind of trying to counter it, but he's countering something that's not going to happen.
No, he's going to try and cover it off. He's going to get spotted out by that ward as well. We do see the poke back and forward between them, but it's a very even start from both these teams. We are approaching that 3.5-minute mark, though, so the junglers looking to try and come in and help, and both doing a very much identical play here. We see the jungler coming in towards that top lane to cover off. Meanwhile, the jungler down the bottom lane of Hercubot also covering off. So very even, everyone taking lane tax.
It's like a standard play out of junglers now, because you want to keep up in terms of farm and levels, so you know you're going to be pressured around your solo laner around 330, so you just show up, make sure he can get some farm, you get some free experience, even maybe a couple of gold here and there, but it just helps him keep stay in lane. But Hercubot sticking on the bottom lane, as you see Shushay being taken low already out of Ocelot.
A sidestep as well from the light binding. Ocelot just keeping away from that damage, and that's going to force Shushay back, so he's going to be the first man going back to buy. I tell a lie, Hosan's already been back to buy and got himself that Tear of the Goddess, and he's going to be building a Muramana. I know that for a fact because I spoke to him last week. Death Sentence lands on Hercubot. Not a great deal to follow it up there. Mubo just saying, yeah, I can land it.
That's a really interesting play out of Hosta to go back so early. I mean, obviously you want to stack the tier up, and you want to be able to harass quite well, but it gives Kevin that opportunity to push the lane out, you know, catch up in levels, actually get ahead in levels as well, and he'll be able to back and buy up as well, or on top of that. So, interesting thing, but we'll see how it develops, you know, out of Hosan.
We'll see whether it works out for them. He wanted to get that Tear of the Goddess very early on, it seems. It's a vitally important item for him from when I was speaking to him last, so not a lot you can do to stop him getting it. Candy Panda, meanwhile, farming out in this top lane. You can see the acceleration blast, shock blast coming in there from Yamato Cannon. He's getting a lot of farm going on, but he's actually fell behind, obviously, because Kevin just got that free farm in the bottom. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Ocelot's got the advantage building there because he sent Shushay back early on. Shushay didn't have enough to go get that Tear of the Goddess. Instead, he had to get them boots.
So he's really trying to, they're applying pressure on all lanes right now. You heard him in the video saying, you know, as long as we just outplay him in the lane, we should be able to beat them in the end of the game. And Yamato Cannon, like you mentioned before, he's behind CS. He's having a decent hard time in the top lane so far. But Kevin, I mean, trying to take advantage of every situation he got. Picked up a Ruby Crystal for the bottom lane, just trying to stay tanky enough, just like we were saying before. SK maybe trying to go for a very early turret on the top lane, allow Kevin to finally get some free farm in the top.
Well, we see them keep on poking through there. Yamato Cannon did have that red pot earlier on. Didn't require to use it, though. He's kept himself safe enough with the help of Maluno, who's just coming up there once again. Is he going to try and sneak in and start something, or is he just going to cover the lane off? I think it's going to be simply lane cover for Yamato to go back and buy potentially here. He's going to see if he can get a bit of poke on towards him. But they're keeping the 2v2 lane here. Not a lot of jungling going on from either jungler.
Yeah, not a lot happening so far. It's a very slow start at this point. And remember, you know, SK, they're trying to hold on to that third position, and Dragonborns are trying to avoid Meteor Makers in the relegation matches, so both teams taking this very seriously right now. But so far, I mean, SK is pretty much winning. Actually, well, I'd say pretty much winning, but, you know, also has huge advantage in the mid lane in CS. And Candy Panda has a nice, was actually down 4 CS compared to his counterpart Hosen in the bottom lane. And Dragonborns are seeing them be very aggressive on this turret. They might try to go for it relatively soon.
Yeah, managed to get a good half the hit points taken off it. So Dragonborn's starting to finally apply that pressure in the bottom lane. Here comes Hercubot. Can they catch on towards Mover? It's going to be Hosan they're going for. No, they put the Wither down on towards Mover, but it's not quite enough damage. The Harpoon's going to turn around, but look at that. Hosan, he's got that red pot in his pocket if he requires it, but instead he's keeping the poke on towards Kevin.
And we also are seeing a tier picked up on Yamato Cannon. It's a very standard item, but with Hosan picking one up as well, it leads me to think that they kind of want to poke as much as possible against SK and try to out-sustain them and then go for a hard engage.
Well, they still haven't managed to catch on just yet. And Hercubot's still here, you know. He's not going to go back off. He did use that ghost to try and get those ganks, so he's got to try and make something count here and keep the pressure on towards those turret. They realize that they did take a lot of damage. Meanwhile, we do see Final Spark being fired off in the mid lane, but not really catching on to anything, so we're going to stick towards this top lane where Maluno and Yamato Cannon almost effectively keeping, you know, no jungles going at all. Red's up on both these lanes. Neither jungler's going for them yet.
Yes, it will. The red's not going to be a huge factor for this. It's all about the blue. If they don't get that over to their AP mid in time, they're going to have a really hard time in that lane. But we do see finally Hercubite heading over towards that red. See the nice tie landing on a Candy Panda.
Shadow Dash comes in there, but remember, Nif on towards Elise. He's got a lot of damage coming out, and he does pick up the first blood. Now they're going to turn it on to a Candy Panda, gets in towards the bush. Is it enough? Yamato Cannon, he uses the acceleration gate. Can he get away from Nif? He's going to repel. He's going to dive in. He sinks in the fangs, but gets hammered away. But it's Nif with the Q just to finish things off.
And Nif picking up 2 kills by him, or not by himself, right there, picking up the 2 kills in that lane, and we saw him last week do the same thing, going 3-0. But that is just the power of Elise. You don't even need AP items to do a lot of damage, and that is a great advantage overall for SK in that top side.
So, first blood and third, I guess you could say, blood picked up by Nif. And we saw this last week, you know, he started off so well, 2-0 now, and that's going to give him the chance to go back and pick up a ton of items. Hercubot trying to take advantage of this and get in and steal that blue. Maluno is there, but Nif is with him. They do put the ward down, they catch a glimpse of him, and there it is, blue buff stolen away by SK Gaming.
That doesn't hurt Shushay quite a bit in the lane. Looks like he will go back, though, and pick up that tier relatively soon. Actually goes for a Cage's lucky pick, but now if they get this blue over to Osta, he should be able to boss his lane around the entire time as you see him pick up a Stinger. So he really wants to harass Shushay down and not allow him to get free farm, or not allow him to get into the other lanes to really interact and pick up some kills and help those lanes out.
So Tear of the God has been picked up by Yamato Cannon, as well as that Doran's Blade. Did use that red pot in the last engagement. As it stands, we see Hosan also going back. There is the Muramana, wants to get that Manamuni built as quickly as possible. BF Sword, meanwhile, picked up by Candy Panda, getting that kill. The 2 assists in the top lane. And there is Hercubot taking away the red buff. Blue buff is about to be picked up by Ocelot. So all wards, resources being controlled. Oh, Tree Shot Barrage trying to keep Kevin from backing off, but he chose the other brush.
And the thing is, we saw Shushay back. He picked up a Cage's lucky pick, picked up a Doran's ring, didn't pick up like a tier, didn't pick up any sort of mana building item, and they already lost their first blue, or sorry, the second blue. If they keep losing the blues, he's not really going to be able to get back in the game, or at least get into the game where he needs to, or at least, you know, do the damage he's going to have to do as the game goes on.
That is actually one of the dangers of Lux if you do start to fall behind, especially against the Kayle as well. He's going to have that intervention, and you can see he's just going to be wave clear, and he's quite happy to tank them up because he can just heal himself out. Shushay going back again here. Let's see whether this is simply bait to pull Ocelot closer. Nope, he has gone back to buy, and he's got himself a second Doran ring.
Okay, so he definitely is going to need that sustain. He's going to need that help. Luna will be able to cover that lane if he needs to, but, you know, Ocelot, he will be able to roam around a little bit to see him put a ward down. And Yamato can, I mean, he just cannot get in there to farm as Kevin is keeping up to him really well. I mean, 49 to 49 CS at this point. Kevin's got to be happy with that.
Well, of course, he gave him the chance to go get the Sight Stone and the Philo Stone, so he's really looking good as a support right now. Ocelot moving in towards the bottom lane. It's Hosan they're going in towards. He does get pulled away by the Lantern. Is it going to be enough? He's going to finish him off. Oh, the Equalizer comes down, and now Movet's going to be the target, but he backs away. It's Ocelot that picks up the kill.
And that's what happens when you get that lane shoved up against you. Ocelot was able to roam around, help pick up that kill on the bottom lane, and Kevin, he was already ahead, just considering him being in a 1v2 situation. We see Maluno heading down. We see Hercubot actually going to be able to catch him as well.
He's coming in towards it. Movet's going to get taken very low. Meanwhile, at the top there, Yamato Cannon goes down. Movet goes down. SK Gaming starting to turn the pressure on.
Getting kills left and right there. They should be able to pick up a couple of turrets as well. They're already up about 1,700 gold at this point, but with these turrets going down, it's just going to skyrocket, and the items they're going to be able to pick up are just going to be insane on top of that. And they might be able to pick up Dragon as well.
So another turret going down. It is SK Gaming's first one of the game. Dragonborns, of course, picked up their first turret earlier on, and now it's going to be the mid lane turret that's taking pressure here. The minions of the top wave taking it down. Now they're going to try and collapse on towards Shushay, but the light binding lands on Ocelot, and that's going to keep him at bay.
Yeah, he's not going to care too much. Still has that intervention available if he needs to. But the pressure that SK's putting on, I mean, this is very reminiscent of what we saw last week versus Gambit. It looks like they're still on form right here. I'm looking to take this game already up 5-1, 12 minutes in. Is not too shabby.
Infinity Edge almost complete right now by Candy Panda. Just coming up to 12 minutes into the game. So that is a pretty quick IE right there. Meanwhile, Ocelot, he's keeping the pressure back onto Shushay. Shushay went back to buy yet again, but still, he's unable to really get any decent items in there right now. He's sort of just sustaining himself as much as he can. We're going to have the lane switches as well. We're going to see Candy Panda and Nif. They're heading down towards the bottom. Of course, that turret already gone. So that's an advantage gain. I'd expect to see them stacking it towards the mid lane, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a really good play because then they could go for Dragon on top of that. We do have Hercubot back in base, and he has his ultimate available. He's going to be coming over towards his Dragon, it looks like, as Kevin and Yamato Cannon be going head-to-head in the top lane. So this should be the first Dragon of the game if they do want to go for it. They are trying to do something to Ocelot with Maluno and Yamato Cannon coming down. Trying to go for a 3-man gank here.
Well, I'm not too sure whether they can make it. Remember, he's got that intervention. He can just get away. Hasn't got flash available, though. Did use that a moment ago. So that's not going to be up for a while. Realizes the pressure may be on him. But Kevin, while this is happening, is just getting a free roam again, free farm. Kept up the CS with Yamato Cannon while they've both been away, but he's got that kill, all importantly, along with the assist, but no deaths to go with it. Pings go down. They keep a glimpse of Yamato Cannon, so they know the mid lane is free, which is why you see Ocelot immediately going aggressive on Shushay.
And because you see Candy Panda freezing the lane in the bottom right now, you're seeing Hosan just back off saying, hey, it's not worth it, I'm not going to stick around. He might actually rotate around to mid lane to help out Shushay a little bit, because it's kind of a waste. Like, you know, if you're going to freeze a lane, you can get countered so easily by having a 3 or 4-man push on a turret, which Dragonborns desperately need right now. And then you see Kevin in the top lane still being really aggressive, just doing what he did against Gambit. He's just consistently pushing the top lane, forcing Dragonborns to react to it. In the meantime, SK can take a Dragon.
Shushay, he can't do anything at the moment. He's had to use the final spark to try and keep himself clear of that turret. There's the Dragon being picked up, so the gold advantage continues to continue in SK's way. And look at that, it's 4,000 gold right now, already 13 minutes into the game. That's a big, big shift this early on.
Yes, it is. And we have blue up yet again for Dragonborns here. And unfortunately for Shushay, he did go back just now. So we have also coming around, we have Kevin. Looks like they're trying to take it away. And if they take this one away from it as well, Shushay is going to be hurting so much now. Not in damage, but as his game progresses.
Yeah, absolutely. Maluno is going to come in. He's going to try and smite it. Yes, he does. He managed to get it. But that still hurts them because it's not going on towards Shushay. Of course, he just used that final spark to clear out the wave, so he couldn't even try and get it from range. Just saw the rappel coming out from Nif there, maybe trying to get in towards the Ocelot. They're going to get the box down on him. They should be able to turn this one around. He's already used the intervention. The turret comes in, and now Hercubot, can he get away from this one? But now they're turning in towards the top lane. We see Kevin hammered away by Yamato Cannon. Didn't want to dive that turret, and now the pressure on the mid lane. They're going to keep pushing on towards that turret.
That Lantern taunt gig just showing why Thresh is so devastating. So Maluno come in there. They should be able to pick up this turret, but we do have Nif coming around from the bottom. He's allowing Candy Panda just free farm by himself, and it allows Kevin in the top lane to just farm. We already pushed Jace out of lane, and he's going to get some really good damage onto this turret.
And he repels away from that damage just in the right time. Wicked continue, sorry, not Wicked. Wicked's not even in the game. Kevin continuing to keep the pressure on that top turret. So used to calling Wicked continuing split pushing off the top there from the last match. But it's not, it's Kevin, and he's doing a fantastic job.
This is exactly what he did against Gambit. It worked out well for them there. It's working out well for them here. And the thing is, without him there, they still have a very strong team composition with Candy Panda having that 140 CS, almost his Infinity's Edge done, which he will have when he does go back. And now they're going to go for a push on this middle turret here, and they should be able to pick it up.
Well, they've got a free farm on it, but they've got no minions, unfortunately, so they're not going to have the chance to go in there. Hercubot instead decides to tank it up. The 4-man, 3-man push goes straight for it. Oh, True Shot Barrage does come across, and that forces them to reconsider their options. Blue buff, meanwhile, is being picked up by Ocelot. There we see the Cocoon landing on towards Hosan. He backs away with that Lantern.
And with how the items developed, I want to concentrate on the top lane just a little bit one more time. Is that Kevin, he was able to back and pick up a Giant's Belt, but Yamato Cannon backed and only picked up a Manamune, which it doesn't give you that much more damage in lane right now. You kind of need it as the game goes on, like way later in the team fighting phase. But Kevin was already pushing him out of lane, but with this extra health, it's going to make him even more one-sided.
So they really want those Mirror Man as complete as quick as possible. Of course, this is the change as well. They are now AD and not AP in this patch, so which is why they've valued those items so highly right now, which is what they certainly want to pick up. But it's going to take a while for them to get that ready. I think they both have pretty much spam abilities, and Ocelot actually getting a little bit of poke there on Ocelot. So Hosan, we're seeing him build a very to what we just saw Nono do. Yeah, he is. I mean, he wants to go for that extended poke, the extended siege onto turrets. And the thing is, a poke comp, you know, when you start to fall behind, you just kind of stay behind. You can't really afford to do that. And we'll see how it works as the game goes on, because, you know, Shushay's having troubles in lane. Hosan and Yamato Cannon both going for the poke. It might work out, because it might allow Shushay to catch up, but only time will tell. Well, that turret, it's down to nothing, just needs breathing on, and I think Candy Panda wants to sort of tank it up. He's dodging out the light bindings. Meanwhile, Hosan's being pursued down the bottom here by Ocelot. He is going to get the slowdown on him, but it's not a great deal to turn it around. Dodges out the True Shot Barrage and walks away. You see Kevin still pushing the top lane with, you know, Ocelot pushing the bottom. It
force mover to come defend a little bit, and then allows a 3-man push from SK on the middle turret, which, as you said before, it's a breath away from going down, and it does die right there. So that's 3 turrets to the 1. Shishan ulti coming in the bot lane, but also just flashes out.
Yeah, it just flashes away from that one. Not going to be able to ultimate in and shadow dash on towards him. So that is Stand United wasted effectively, and now the rest of the team starting to move on this.
And the thing was, Hosen actually flashed to get in range as well, so he wasted the flash on top of it. SK now going for a push on the middle tier 2 turret, and they should be able to get a chunk of damage onto it. Not to mention Kevin in the top lane still being aggressive as ever, pushing that lane.
Continuing to keep poking it down. Ocelot's going to look to move towards that mid lane as well. We see him coming across, trying to keep Hosan busy, and they are going to back off in the mid lane because Shushe is back there, and he's going to clear them waves pretty quickly. So SK Gaming with the advantage right now. They have a 5,000 gold advantage built up, 3-1 in turrets, 5-2 in kills, and Hosan again, a little bit of pressure from Ocelot.
Not to mention Dragon will be up in about a minute. You see Nip getting caught.
He's absolutely caught and removed from the map by Shushe. Not quite an oh my lord spectacular move, but it's strong enough, and the final spark finished the job.
Well, it puts him up back at a 2-0 right now, which is what he's going to need. He's going to get the items he needs to pick up to do some damage. He has Murillo's Nomicon now, so he has a cooldown reduction. And he also went for home guard boots very early on, like we just saw Cart this last game. He wants to get back to lane to farm as much as possible, and that's really going to work out for him.
They really want to kill Hosan down the bottom here, but he's not taking the bait. He's just happy farming. He's keeping up that farm, and he had fell behind a little bit on Candy Panda, but not too much. And we see Hercubot just lingering off the side there, Ocelot with him. They've backed away twice now, and Hosan's kept them there every time. And now he's pinged and gone back into the bush. Finally, looks like he's going to go.
It's a smart play, though, because they're trying to use Hosen's aggression against him by picking up a kill onto him, and then they can push that turret as well, keep him behind. But playing a little bit smarter here, not going for that. But still, I mean, SK is just farming up right now. Their items are getting completed. We have the Infinity Edge done on Candy Panda, and he's going for Blade of the Rune King as well. On top of that, they're just getting stronger and stronger.
So, things developing here. 19 minutes in, after the early aggression of SK Gaming, they've definitely moved into a much slower play. Nif putting the ward down on the blue buff, keeping vision of that, and well, Shushe is just there, so SK Gaming may well be in a position to go for this one, but Maluna saw the ward come down. They're hoping to see if anyone's going to try and make a move and foolishly step in the wrong path towards Dragonborns, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. We see Hercubot coming around. He may try and smite steal it. See if he can get around there. Nif, of course, could throw something towards it. No, blue buff already taken. Are they going to try and catch anyone out? The cocoon come through, but Maluna just shadow dashes away.
Yeah, great job by Dragonborns. They had to secure that one, and they stacked up to do it, but it works out for him in the end. Shushe finally getting that blue buff. He's going to hurt now in these lanes, in these team fights. And SK, I mean, with all the tier 1 turrets down, they're just kind of having a hard time farming. They just keep roaming around the map. Kevin keeps pushing top, also staying bottom. And the rest of SK is trying to push down this middle lane, but Dragon is now back up. And this should be the second one of the game for him.
Move forced the flash away from the aggression now. And now we see Kevin going in towards Yamato. Can he push the equalizer down? Is it going to be enough damage? The flame splitter going, the harpoon lands. Can he finish him off? He's overheated. He's on the turret. He does manage to get it, and that's the kill. Kevin now. But meanwhile, down at the Dragon, you can see the hook. The 10 cents is actually on. The final spark comes across, and Maluno gets the steal on the Dragon.
Great job by him right there to taunt in, then flash out. But now also might get it caught. As you see the Vars ulti coming on Shushe.
Oh, he manages to land it. Shushe gets absolutely caught out by Ocelot. The repel comes through. Not quite enough. The vision from Nif trying to catch him out there, but they're going to get the red buff instead.
In the meantime, Kevin pushing the top lane after that kill on Yamato. They're just pushing them on all ends right now. And Dragonborns doesn't have a response to this right now.
They're down on all fours because they have Hercubot in there on the dog, and he is pouncing towards that mid lane. Meanwhile, Nif, he's just keeping the pressure on. The Spider Lady, the dog, they've got everything. All the animals all bound in one little Noah's Ark right now, and it's going to be the inner turret of the mid lane going down.
So many animals, and that Noah's Ark definitely not going to sink here as Kevin still pushed the top lane, trying to be aggressive, and it looks like they will rotate around to it because they have all 5 members there. You've seen Asa even stick around the mid lane for a little bit, but Yamato Cannon and all the Dragonborns really cannot defend a push that SK is going to put out against them.
And just like that, the towers flow down, and, well, that little yordle of Kevin, he's managed to work it well. Oh, they didn't get the turret. They backed away. He's repelled. Where's he going?
No, he's stuck.
He's got nowhere to go, and his Shadow Dash comes in. The final spark comes across. Nif does flash away, but now it's Move Air's going to get taken down. Nif is still alive, just across the side there. Throws out the spiders. The cocoon comes down. Stand United, not enough. And now Ocelot picks up a double kill. Can he make it a triple kill? Going out towards Yamato Cannon. Equalizer comes across there. Candy Pan Panda picks up the kill. It's a 3-for-1 right now in SK Gaming. Now they have to back across. Oh, Candy Panda flushes away from the light binding.
Phenomenal play by SK right there. We had Nifty repelled. He was like, oh crap, I'm kind of stuck right here. Guys, help me out. He flashes away, still gets very low, but also with a perfect intervention, keeps him alive and allows him to put down more CC during the fight. Also, you know, he went in, he died for his team, but he died for 3 kills. He died for the turret, and that is so favorable for SK. They have a lot of gold to spend.
Yeah, Lichbane picked up by Ocelot off the back of that one. And Shushay, meanwhile, getting the Morellonomicon, needlessly large rod in there as well. He'd sent that earlier on. And the Nash's Tooth was also picked up by Ocelot earlier on as well. So, Infinity Edge was complete. We do see the Bilgewater Cutlass in there. So, we're going to see Blade of the Rune King coming out shortly. Muramana now being completed by Hosam. Finally managed to get that on. Let's see whether that picks up his damage. He's going to have the Bloodthirster on there as well soon.
And the thing is, just look at how far ahead SK is in items. You have the Riley's Crystal Scepter on Kevin. You have the penetration he needs to just destroy anyone on Dragonborns. You even have Ocelot with his finished Nashor's Tooth and his Lichbane. And then, as you mentioned before, the Infinity's Edge and the Blade of the Rune King over to Candy Panda. So their carries are so fed right now that it's going to be really hard for Dragonborns to get back in this.
We do see Yamano Cannon. He's quite a way out of position, and Kevin's going for this one. Immediately, Yamano Cannon realizes the danger. Straight away, backs off from that one. Pigs come out. They're going to try and keep pressure on towards the mid lane, though.
And they might be able to get this turret as well, as it's a very low, and they will, in fact, get that down, get a little bit of extra gold that they're going to need. But where do they go off of this? Because that kind of just, it slightly denied them a little bit of farm in the middle lane. Well,
it's 5-2 in turrets, and every little bit of golden experience counts because they have fell behind all across the lanes right now. It's 10-4 SK Gaming, a big 10-4. Roger. I don't know the CB lingo, I'm afraid, so I can't quite do that one. But there is no bears in the air this time, at least.
There's just no flying bears, yes. And Maluna, we have to point out, he picked up a Sunfire Cape, and he has the Razor, so it looks like he might potentially go for some split pushing and kind of just ulti in. Only problem is that no one else on his team is tanky, so they don't have like a secondary tank to really soak up the damage at that point, so he'll have to come in very quickly.
So as it stands, though, SK Gaming pushing in. And looking at maybe setting up the Baron. Right now, the score, it was predicted by the tissues we have here at the caster desk. It's 4-10, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, two-shot barrage. That's going to show SK Gaming. They know that they're at the Baron right now, but they realize there is wards, and they can't push on this one. And SK Gaming, they're trying to set up for a gank and try and see if they can make a play.
And the thing is, they could do Baron if they wanted to. They really could. They have the ward coverage for it. They have the damage they need. But they really want Dragonborns to misstep here, and it might actually happen.
Oh, the Cocoon comes through. Didn't quite land. It forces a flash away from Movet. They weren't able to make anything count, but that's a flash down and a summoner spell used.
And with Nip with that Oracle, I mean, and with Dragonborns having no vision, they are still kind of baited in a little bit, but you see Candy Panda pushing the middle lane. Did they actually steal that blue away?
No, that was given by Shushay. He managed to get that one. That's very much a vital blue buff as well. We do see he comes backing off here, but SK Gaming, oh, there comes the final spark. Didn't quite catch though, but he caught Ocelot, so it's going to give them vision. They realize they're onto the Baron, and SK Gaming trying to turn this one. The Cocoon comes out, the explosive spider's going in there. Malunu wants to get in, and now SK peel off from the Baron, and immediately the lanterns pull, and they back away. They have kept it though. They've kept on it. He hasn't reset like you mentioned. Oh, and Maluno gets caught out this time around. He can't get in there. The equalizer used, and they will finish off the Baron. Can they turn and burn? Oh, they do catch on with the light binding, but final spark's not quite available. Acceleration gate used out. Shujay's going to get chased on. The slow not quite enough. Light binding catches back on there again. Still not got that final spark. Now it's up.
And Mover is going to get caught here. Looks like he will go down.
He's not going to be able to escape this one. The acceleration gate, the puke, and he despite no, the final spark caught on towards it. Candy Panda though, Hosan way out the back. He can't tank against Candy Panda, and that was just how much damage Candy Panda could put down on him there because he had the item advantage.
3 kills, Baron on that as well. They just extend their gold lead even further. And Maluna, we saw him still dragging before, but unfortunately, you saw SK use everything they possibly could to keep him out of that pit. You saw Candy Panda ult him just to lock him down to say, hey, you're not even going to get a chance to get into smite this. They bursted him down, turned around, finished off the Baron, didn't let it reset, which is really key. And then they got those 2 other kills. Great job by SK right there.
Yeah, they're going to take away the red buff. Looks like they're going to head towards that final turret down the bottom lane as well. And Maluno needs to be very cautious that Ocelot and Hercubot don't choose to go for this one. If he goes towards the golems, you can see they're trying to set up again. That Lichbane just glowing pink on towards Ocelot right now, just like his scarf tends to. But as it stands, Maluno, he's going to keep them away from this turret.
Looking fabulous as ever, but that dragon will be going down for SK. The 3rd one now of the game for them. and the skull lead is just getting ever and ever slightly bigger. We do see items finally developing on Dragonborns, but I really start to worry that it might be just a little bit too late.
So 13-4. Baron picked up, SK Gaming in the driving seat, very much in a dominant performance. Not quite as dominant, ironically, as they were against Gambit last week, but nevertheless, they are looking very, very good for this third position right now. Final Spark comes across, clears out that mid lane. Nif just sidesteps it nonchalantly. No problem, didn't have a worry in the world about that one, but 27 minutes gone, it's looking very, very strong. 10,000 gold lead for SK Gaming.
And Kevin, with that gold lead, picked up a nicely large rod. He was already hurting so much before, but that is just going to skyrocket his damage. You even see the Runic Bulwark picked up on a Naz, which is going to help out a lot. And then you see Candy Panda picking up a very interesting item, actually going for a Spirit Visage. So he gets the cooldown reduction out of it, he gets extra healing off the Blade of the Rune King, and he also gets the Magic Resist, which is going to be really key against Shushay.
So, interesting item builds, going towards really exactly what he's up against, and building towards the situation, and the game has pertained him. Meanwhile, well, look at this, Kevin, he's off on that top lane again. He's just keeping the push going down there. Did pick up that Rylers earlier on. Now we've got needlessly large rod with that haunting guy, so he's got a lot of damage, and he's going to keep the pressure on towards that inhibitor turret. And this is just exactly what SK Gaming have been doing the entire time. Yeah, Nif's like, dude, you just walked straight past the ward here. Come back, I want to take it out. Look, you can see him. He's just like, here, right here. Keep pressing on it. Nif, meanwhile, he's like, yeah, this is why I carry the oracles normally.
But with SK being this aggressive, you're seeing Dragonborns respond to it because they picked up Home Guard boots onto Shushay and a Hosan. They're trying to get back in the fight as much as possible and try to outlast SK. But with that Baron buff, it's going to be very hard. Not pushing Kevin is going to be coming from the side. If he gets a nice ultimate down, he could lock away Dragonborn's exit.
Oh, the ultimate coming out from Candy Panda, not quite catching on the chain of corruption there. Instead, they do pick up the turret though, and they're going to keep the pressure in towards this final turret. Maluno is off in the top lane. He has got Stand United available if he wants to come for this fight.
He's going to need to use it very soon. I mean, with that Lich Bane on Offset, with the damage they have, that turret won't last very long. Maluno, he's level 14, doesn't have his level 3 or rank 3 ultimate just yet, which they're going to need to survive. Like, that person's going to have to flash away just to survive the damage that SK is going to put out. And they're being very aggressive here. I mean, they're actually tanking turret hits and just trying to get a little bit chip in.
Well, they have the regen, of course, coming out from that Baron. They're going to keep getting the poke on towards it. Ocelot goes in again, goes very aggressive on towards Hosan. Stand United forced to be used, but it does mean the inhibitor turret will go down. Can they get on towards the inhibitor? True Shot Barrage comes across, and still nobody going down between either team.
Kevin has his ultimate available. He's just waiting for Dragonborns to go for that engage to lock them down. We see the Light Binding coming in.
Final Spark does land, but look at that. Not a real amount of damage done towards him. And instead, now we see the flash comes out. He went towards move out. It's also going to not quite get the intervention out. He didn't even get a chance to use it. And now Dragonborns, can they turn this to their advantage? They're going to chase on towards it. Hosan, though, immediately gets caught out. Can't get in towards them. And now you can see Kevin. Equalizer goes down. Hosan seems to be the target. Is it Shushay? Going to get in towards it. Stand United from Maluno. Doesn't quite have enough hit points. Repel comes down there. And they still can't catch on towards it. Finally, Candy Panda takes down Maluno. Yamato cannon gets dropped as well. Now they're on towards Hosan. Oh, the harpoon lands, but it doesn't quite take him down. And the inhibitor finally goes down, but Shushay's back. He tries to catch on towards Kevin. The death sentence comes out. Have they got enough damage? Shushay's just got the cooldowns. He can't do a thing about it. Left to watch. Final Spark comes out. That's going to be a kill on towards Kevin. And SK Gaming finally backing away from this one.
Such a crazy fight happening right there. It was a 3-for-2 in the end, but they picked up the inhibitor turret and the inhibitor off of that. And Onslaught, he got taunted by Maluno, which is such a great play out of Maluno to do that because he couldn't use the intervention. He couldn't save himself. But SK, they didn't care. They just start to walk away a little bit. And then, of course, Maluno goes in, lands a nice taunt on SK, but they're like, hey, we have enough damage to kill you. We're not worried about you. And they just blow him up. But luckily, Shushay and Hosan were able to escape with those home guard boots, heal up, and try to get back in the fight and stop any more casualties from happening.
So Hosan, he was so low in all of that fight. He was off at the side. Shushay will be picking up the blue buff. No, he won't. He's giving it across to Hosan because he's already managed to pick up the blue buff earlier on in the fight. So he's going to keep hold of that one. So both members, both carries, both the crazy long-haired members as well of Dragonborns are with the blue buff right now. So we'll see whether they manage to try and make any plays. That was a pretty solid defensive performance, despite the fact they lost that inhibitor turret against a bound up SK.
It was, but the thing is, with everything SK just got off of that, we see Kevin pick up a Zonia, so he won't be bursted down at all. We have also picking up one on top of that as well. And you have Berserker Grease finished off on a Candy Panda. You even have Nif, you get into the mix of everything with a giant spell. He wants to get a little bit tanky and do something in the fight. And then, of course, the Shirley is now picked up on Hercubot. They're coming back stronger than ever. And with that bottom lane consistently pushing, they can just force another lane.
But we do see Hosan, all the Oh, well, actually, that caught on towards Nif, and now Hosan goes aggressive, but the ward placement saw he was there. They didn't really have vision of the rest of the team. They haven't got Stand United available. It's going to be up in just a moment. Light Binding catches on towards Oslo. He's taken down half hit points already there. Dragonborns, though, out of position. You can see that SK Gaming, they're pushing on towards it. Candy Panda, he's just drilling it down here. True Shot Barrage finally clears out the wave. Will they push on towards it? No.
And we have Hercubot coming into the party finally. And also, it doesn't matter how much damage anyone on their team takes. Well, it matters obviously to some extent, but his heal, he has 500 ability power, is going to give him so much more health back. I mean, it's sitting at 195 plus 180, so they had Baron buff previously, so they have the regen from that. Throw that into the mix, and you cannot force them out.
So 5 seconds on Baron, about to spawn. SK Gaming in perfect position, and well, True Shot Barrage was already used. They can't scout with that one. They are a long way away from this one, so Baron going to be given across to SK Gaming for free here. Nothing at all Dragonborns can do about it.
And we do have Shusha, he's backing away, not trying to go for a steal here. So they're going to have that Baron. They're going to drill down that top lane, it looks like, and force Maluno to just try to push out the bottom lane. But we saw in the last fight, like, he came in with the ultimate, but Shusha had a flash away because he got so low so quickly.
So we'll see what SK Gaming can do from this one. Shusha is there. He wants to get a light button and try and put some damage, but he misses his combo. It was Kevin he was going for, didn't quite get it down, and now SK Gaming pushing in towards that inhibitor in the top lane. The turret taking a lot of damage. Look at that, half the health stripped off it in just one simple wave. Candy Panda keeping the pressure on. And just like they did before, they have that wave of minions to go in. They're going to follow it straight back in there. Dragonborns are still not really set up for this one. Stand United is available. We have Edward waving through the window, but instead it doesn't matter because it's Dragonborns that are under pressure.
At least Dragonborns do have decent wave curve, though, with that Jace, with that Lux and Ezreal on top of that. You can at least keep them shoved away from your tower, but if SK decides to dive you, you're most likely not going to win that fight, and you're going to come down with a couple of deaths and another inhibitor gone.
Mover is unable to really put in the performance of the Thresh Prince right now. It's been Nif 2-1-8 right now. Early on he got those kills, and now there's going to be the inhibitor turret going down. Dragonborns are going to have to react to this one, or they're going to lose another inhibitor here. They can't do a thing about it, and it's SK taking another one down. Now it's straight across the mid turret.
The thing is, okay, so they lost 2 inhibitors now, and actually going to lose a third one here. They have to fight for this one. You cannot let 3 inhibitors go, or the chances of you coming back are so slim to none.
You're effectively saying our game is over. They're trying to fight in the double Nexus turret, so it's almost like they're in an Aram right now, and that's all they've got to live for, but it doesn't matter because SK Gaming, they're going to push in towards these death sentences on Nif. The chain of corruption comes out, and Ocelot takes down Mover. Stand United on Yamada Cannon is not going to be enough. Shadow Dash across, Final Spark lands on everyone, but just the damage is too strong for SK Gaming. They're going to take the game against Dragonborns and continue on their pressure and pace on 3rd place and continue to chase 2nd and 1st, but I don't think it's quite possible for them unless something crazy happens in Super Week. But nevertheless, SK Gaming keeping their KDAs high with the Zhonya's Hourglass towards the end there. Do pick up victory over the Dragonborns.
And I think with that win, they actually secured 3rd place, don't they? Evil Geniuses, with their loss previously, cannot catch back up to them. Saying no, they will be playing the number 6 team, which will at this point be against Authority or Giants.
So, fantastic performance from Ocelot and crew. The lady boners will be going mental over on Reddit. And right now, it is going to be over to the analysis desk to take us through that pretty one-sided performance and a slow grind, I think it's safe to say. It's going to be Joe and Quickshot.
Thanks a lot, Demon. So, as he rightly pointed out there, Quickshot, a slow grind to a definite victory. That's just how it went for SK Gaming there. They looked by far the stronger team. Everything was working out perfectly for them. Sadly for Dragonborns, we saw them last week when they finally picked up that win against Giants. Even the game before that against Gambit, they looked very, very good. But sadly, we didn't really see that same kind of performance out of them today.
Not at all. And I think one of the primary concerns or the primary reasons for that is their composition. They ran a fairly heavy, poke composition, which, as you know, if you fall behind, if you can't siege and poke out your enemies, your composition falls to bits. It's very difficult to defend against a team that has an advantage and rely entirely on skill shots just to help you defend with minions, with everything in the way. So, it was a composition that I think they tried. They wanted to try and make it work, but the early game power from SK and their aggression just, helped them pick it up.
Yeah, and we actually don't have any replays for this one, mainly because it was, as we said, a standard win almost for SK Gaming. Yes, there were some points in there which, led to team fights, but they were pretty one-sided. I mean, we saw there at the end, a Baroned up SK, they pushed down the top lane, take away the turret, the inhibitor, go straight to middle. Jason said, you can't let them have that. You can't let 3 inhibitors go. In the end, it did go down. The kills followed on straightly after that, and we saw the victory coming out from SK Gaming, which puts them in very good stead now in the third position. We calculated this one a little bit. We're almost positive, and that's the thing, right? I may be the stat man, but I'm rubbish at math. So we're pretty sure that it's not 100% over right now, but that loss that EG recorded earlier on really does mean that they're going to have to win everything and SK is going to have to lose everything.
So we did some of the math, and I know coming into this weekend, in order for Evil Geniuses to actually overtake that third position of SK, they needed to win 2 additional games, meaning they would need to go 5-0 with SK going, I think, 3-2, etc., etc. So we'll double-check that run out. If they go 4-1 and 2-3, for example, if it works. But yeah, there's a lot of possibilities that need to happen. And the thing is, for EG, they are no longer in control of their fate. If they place third, SK have to throw. It doesn't matter how well they play.
Yeah.
So, that's really what it's talking about. But game 2 of 20 for Super Week, there are many, many, many more to come.
18 of them. I can do that, man. So we've got to call an MVP for this one. Again, it was a hard choice because SK as a team were very well gelled in that one. Another great performance on Elise coming out of NIF. Yeah. Ocelot had a big impact on the game there as well. I mean, we almost overlooked the fact that Hercubot on his Nasus did a fantastic job in here once again, racking up a ton of assists from that. And of course, coming into this week, he was the 4th highest rated player in terms of KDA at 6.3. Obviously, that's all changed now because of the games that we've already seen. But the MVP in the end we gave to Kevin. That Rumble performance, he was picking up the kills left and right, but also doing a great job of keeping lots and lots of pressure on that top lane.
Map control, positioning, and I don't think he had a bad ultimate at all. Last weekend, this weekend as well, his equalizers were completely spot on. It zoned the enemy out. It allowed them to get a double kill early. It allowed them to pick up Baron by completely shutting down the choke points. And again, he's just incredibly instrumental in an SK teamfight position, because if Kevin does his thing and he's in the right place using his abilities the way he does, SK almost always win those matches, and a well-deserved MVP.
So that's it from us here for another game on the analysis desk. Of course, we'll be back a little bit later, but for now, we're going to go over to the main stage where Shox is waiting with Kevin.
Thank you very much. I'm here with the MVP, Kevin. Now, Kevin, coming off a huge victory last week against Gambit. In theory, Dragonborn should be easier, but how did you strategize against them?
We actually didn't strategize at all. Like, we just did yesterday the pick and bans, and we find out that we just have to play standard versus them and just beat them normal way.
You seem to really be having the momentum, and it's really important because you need, you want to grab and hold on to that third place, hold on to the third place. So what did your preparation look like the past week? Did you step it up even more?
We started to play a bit more, especially solo queue style. We practiced around 7-8 hours a day, just playing solo queue, training our individual skill. So that was our preparation actually for this week, and that proved good versus Gambit.
Now coming up, of course, El Clasico, you're going to be up against Fnatic. You took down Gambit. You should be able to do something against Fnatic. So what are you feeling going into that one?
We feel pretty strong. We got something prepared for them. So I hope you will like it. Yeah, I feel we will beat them.
Kevin feels they will beat Fnatic. Interesting stuff. Thank you very much, Kevin. Now, remember to answer our Twitter question for today. Which region will triumph at the All-Star Tournament and why? Hit us up on Twitter at LOL Esports, #LCS. Now, last week, we learned never to count out the Spanish Armada as the Giants dominated their matches. But they're now up against a squad that wants to force them back down. In the standings, excuse me. Giants versus Against All Authority is coming up next. And directly after the break, we'll be taking a video look back at this Monday's epic streaming matchup between Wicked and SOAS, followed up with an introduction to your European All-Star team. Don't go anywhere.